poetry that extends back to a time before official records and literacy. Sometimes the connections between poets are more than purely literary. In these pages, you will find husbands and wives, secret lovers, sons and daughters, neighbours and friends, siblings and brothers in arms. Occasionally, poets will be united by how they lived, sometimes as noble courtiers, more frequently as penniless paupers, or how they died, often unhappy and unrecognised. Much of this book is dedicated to the promotion of those who've been unfairly all but forgotten. But conversely, it's also important to address the complex reputations of some of our most beloved writers. How do we go about reconciling the fact that so many writers who were so rich in talent were so inexcusably poor in their treatment of others? Readers, scholars, and critics have found racism, religious bigotry, misogyny, intolerance, and cruelty in countless poets. Does this diminish the brilliance of their writing? It is a difficult, sensitive issue with no easy answer, but maybe we can turn to the poets themselves for guidance. W.H. Auden, seemingly one of the good guys who helped a woman escape from Nazi Germany through a marriage of convenience, once argued for the separation of the artist from their work in his poetic elegy for W.B. Yeats, saying, "The death of the poet was kept from his poems." Allen Ginsberg similarly made a case for cherishing the work, not the person, when he said, "Poets are damned, but see with the eyes of angels." As such, these individuals are included in this book on the basis that their works are undeniably influential and can still speak to us, still move us, in isolation of their authors' deeds. But this book also seeks to celebrate all the progress that has been made. Poetry today is less an elitist circle, more an ever-growing community that's enriched by a plurality of writers who are giving voice to the historically voiceless and lending an ear to those too often left unheard. I'm so proud to have put together an inclusive book that strives to be representative of and relatable to readers and listeners of all backgrounds. As you go through the year, you will see that many key cultural events and historical anniversaries, from Holocaust Memorial Day to International Women's Day to UK Black History Month, as well as various national holidays and Independence Days, are commemorated with poets and poems relevant to those dates, which ask us to reflect on the past and consider how much more we still need to do in the fight for equality in future. At other times, you will find runs of poems on a similar theme: love around Valentine's Day, the war poets near Armistice Day, nature coming into bloom in spring. In addition to these poems and poets chosen to tie in with specific dates, are a whole host of entries that are simply there for their own sake. There are nonsense poems to entertain, satires to amuse, epics to beguile, nature verses to soothe, and romances to melt even the iciest hearts. A collection of such infinite variety fittingly has no set way of being read. You can make it a daily habit, a poem in the morning to invigorate the mind, or every evening to calm the soul, or approach it as a treasure trove of poetic gems to dip into whenever you want. 366 poets are waiting for you within these pages. All they need, dear listener, is you. As in the words of Walt Whitman, to have great poets, there must be great audiences. January. 1st of January. From New Year's Morning by Helen Hunt Jackson. 15th of October 1830 to the 12th of August 1885. The little town of Amherst, Massachusetts, can lay a strong claim to be one of the most literary locations in the United States. Not only is it the home of the great Emily Dickinson, see the 4th of December, but that also of her fellow poet and childhood friend, Helen Hunt Jackson. Although she had a great many poems published to critical acclaim in her later years, Jackson's legacy is perhaps tied more closely to her political writing.